Hello everyone, George here, and as you can see, we are back on F1 Clash as always to play the opening round, this time of the Singapore Grand Prix. I did try in the qualifying round to go for the minimum amount of points required to qualify, but obviously it didn't work, it didn't pay off, so definitely there is no change to grouping for like the amount of points. It is still based on flag counts, and that is quite unfortunate. For this event, I'm using Gasly level 5, Max at level 4. As for my setup, the same as qualifying, I am using the Whirlpool instead of the Mirage. As with the 10% buff, it is going to be definitely better than the Mirage. So for this Grand Prix, I have already played my first 6 races, currently have 182 points. I'm pretty happy with the scores, pretty happy with the track, with the tracks collection. There is a few tracks that are, let's say, wet races, such like Imola. We do have France and we do have Silverstone. And on all of these tracks, if you do get a wet race, definitely your scores are gonna be amazing, especially if you go for a one-stop strategy, as most of the AI cars will go for a two-stop strategy. So a one-stop will definitely help you, especially if you qualify from the back of the grid. As I said, I did try to qualify with the minimum amount of points required. I did that. I remember I scored 70 points in my first 2 races. I'm not really sure how many points, but I did forfeit the last 2 races and I managed to make it. But obviously I'm still matched with these same people in the same group, which is a death group, and it is going to be so difficult to get a decent placement in the final round, especially that I'm not getting more than 300 points, which is crazy. So now we are on Imola. It is going to be a dry qualifying session. Hopefully we get a wet race, and by then I'm gonna get, let's say, around 35, maybe 37 points. It is going to be a dry start, and this is where like you have to take risks. Sometimes you go for soft tires and the timing of the wet like doesn't help you at all. So I'm just gonna go for a safe option. I'm gonna go for medium tires here. Hopefully we do have like 2 to 3 minutes until the race, until the wet or the rain starts, and we do get actually 1 minute and 20 seconds. So I'm definitely gonna go for 2 laps now, go for an early undercut, and hopefully things work. I'm not worried about Max, as he's just amazing even without a 10% buff on his stats. I'm just worried about Gasly. He's just not performing so well during this opening round. Probably I'm gonna replace him for the finals tomorrow, so let's see how it goes. Another thing, or another subject the whole community is talking about is the update 24. Personally, I did find this update useful. It is not a bad one. There is some improvements to race starts, some improvements to first turns around a couple of tracks. Swiping is definitely out of the equation. We don't have swiping anymore, which is, in my opinion, it is not an urgent matter to, let's say, to solve, as swiping doesn't actually hurt the gameplay, let's say. Another thing, these first turns bugs where like your driver goes off track, he hits 5,000 walls and then goes back to the track with you losing, let's say, around 5, maybe 6 positions minimum. Right, these changes are good, but when it comes to swiping, of course, I'm happy that swiping is no more. But when it comes like to grouping and this is actually another huge problem that we are facing at the moment. Grouping should definitely, in my opinion, be random. It shouldn't be based neither on flags, neither on team score. It should be completely random. If I'm playing champions, I do know the risks I'm taking, and I know that I might be facing top players, but at least this is going to be definitely better than, let's say, me facing people who all have 8.5k flags, but 90% of them score, let's say, nearly perfect. I don't even stand a chance against these players, which is, in my opinion, is unfair. Personally, I don't mind. I'm just playing the game casually these days. I don't really care about how many points I score or where I finish. I'm just happy with making content for the game, and just like playing casually. And hopefully in the upcoming updates, we're gonna see some changes for the grouping system. Overtaking is still a huge problem for us. The defensive mechanism, this is something I've been talking about for the past few months, but obviously nothing is changing when it comes to serious problems in the game. We are just seeing gameplay changes, visual bugs and stuff like this. The pit pass, as I said, is good. Obviously, the common and rare cards are still useless. Personally, I would prefer getting at least 20 to 30 common cards instead of 5, because 5 commons are not gonna do anything for you. If you are up, let's say, in level 8 or level 9, I can just go to the store and buy these cards. Cards. What did I just say? All right, so for this race, the undercut seems to have worked for Max, definitely. Unfortunately for us, one AI car, which is Max, what's happening to me today? All right, which is Mick Schumacher, switched to wet tires at the same time I did. He went for an early undercut as well, and he basically ruined Gasly's race. Max is currently in P10. He is gonna be finishing in P10. I'm not really sure if Gasly is gonna be picking up any more positions. That is going to be P10 for Max. We are safe from our rival behind. If we can overtake any car who's out of tires, that would be amazing. Let's boost here. Right, we basically have here Albon, who's out of tires. We are out of fuel, but we managed to get this extra point. So we did get 24 points from this race. Not too bad, actually, after the bad strategy. I honestly did mess up a couple of races, but I managed to score a decent amount of points. So let's move on to the next race and let's carry on with the video. So our final race is going to be again around Singapore. It is a dry race. We are facing a weaker rival than us, so I am expecting to out-qualify him. During the first race, I did mess up my strategy and I ended up with 16 points, which might hurt our opening round. But as long as we get 200 plus points, we should be completely fine to qualify for finals. I'm gonna use Taurus probably for Gasly, and I'm gonna use the Nazar for Max Verstappen here. I'm gonna go for soft tires with Gasly. I'm gonna stick to mediums with Max. Hopefully Gasly does pick up a couple of positions. I'm still a little bit worried about my strategy here. Singapore is one of the weirdest tracks ever, especially if you're starting from the back of the grid. The form of the track is just it's so bad in the game, of course, but in real life Singapore is one of the most amazing tracks. So let's just like keep pushing with Gasly a little bit. I'm still unsure if I should go for 3 or 4 laps. Probably I'm gonna go for like 4 laps and then come back to a new set of softs and like push the finish from there. I did use the Nazar, as this is a boost that I don't really use in my final round, and it gives us like 4 grip, 2 tire, and it gives us a little bit of reliability, which should be enough to prevent us from getting a breakdown during these final corners, during the final lap, as 3 full laps on boost around Singapore will definitely get you a breakdown if you're using like a setup with minus 90 reliability. So the Nazar should be good. Hopefully during our second stint, my drivers are gonna be able to pull a decent result, let's say. But unfortunately, during this race, I did lose the recording. For some reason, my cell phone stopped recording. I tried again, but it didn't work. So I believe it's during lap 4 probably, or at the end of lap 4 this happens, but I'm gonna show the results at the end of this video. As I said, around Singapore, if you can go for soft tires during your first stint and you do have like a decent gap between your drivers, such the gap I do have at the moment, this could be game changing for you. Of course, you're gonna need boosts that give tire management, such like Toros, Street Shark could work, the Rooster could work, but you do need, let's say, to conserve a little bit more than usual. You can boost nearly the entire 4th lap. Of course, this is gonna help you pick up decent positions, especially that you are on softs, but your work starts during your second stint, where you have to boost for 3 full laps. The soft tires are gonna be very helpful, especially around Singapore. Cars who are on mediums or hard tires are not gonna stand a chance against you, of course, unless the gods of F1 Clash are not gonna allow this to happen for you. So you can see here with the Nazar, even on medium tires, Max is still picking up decent positions. But yeah, unfortunately, I couldn't record the second stint, but I'm gonna be showing the results, and this is where actually the record broke. So after finishing all of my races, I did get 235 points, which is a perfect score for 5 races. So that shows you that we are behind with 141 points. Exactly. We ended up getting 29 points around Singapore, which is actually good, especially if you start from the back of the grid with no weather help or anything. 235 should be enough to get us to finals tomorrow. Hopefully, we get at least a decent placement. By the way, before ending the video, my good friend Chad, aka Tommy Rack, is again back doing YouTube videos. He is a well-known member in the community, so I would really appreciate you guys showing him some respect, some love, and support. And I'll be leaving his link, his YouTube channel's link, in my description. So yeah, this is gonna be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate every single one of you giving time to watch my content. Until tomorrow, stay safe and peace.